Charlie Brooker and you're watching Newswipe, a programme all about what's been happening, like this.
Dyslexic protesters brand Blair a raw criminal with blood on his hands. Ben Kingsley and Gordon Brown vow to kiss and make up with Taliban as Clinton and Miliband reach first base. And world gasps as nerd unveils most expensive rectangle in history.
But we start by looking at the Haiti disaster.
Yes, recently the news has been filled with scenes of unimaginable horror and unbearable suffering. On the whole, the reporters themselves have been remarkably stoic in the face of events that would traumatise anyone. Some actively stepped in, leading to astonishing scenes like this, in which CNN health correspondent and neurosurgeon Sanjay Gupta cared for an injured baby in the street.
Obviously, faced with scenes like this, the world wanted to do something to help.
In the US, 3 whole presidents came together in scenes which were vaguely reminiscent of a Doctor Who 3 Doctors special.
America's aid contribution was far greater than any other country, a disparity which so enraged right-wing blowhard Bill O'Reilly he complained about it on his nightly Festival of Bellowing on Fox News.
The benevolent nature of China has pledged little more than $5 million in cash and aid. I mean, how generous is that? Russia pledging 1 mobile hospital and 20 doctors. Putin's another Mother Teresa, isn't he?
Come on, Bill, every little helps.
That great humanitarian Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, sending 1 plane full of relief supplies. You know what, Hugo? Keep your stupid plane.
No, fly it to where it's needed.
To be fair to O'Reilly, he did go on to urge his viewers to donate even more money.
And in astonishing scenes carefully outlined on the informative Russia Today, Hugo one-plane Chavez went on to blame America for causing the disaster by testing an earthquake-inducing superweapon.
Yeah, it's that this time it was only a drill, and the final target is destroying and taking over Iran.
Modern news always needs to fashion events into a compelling narrative, and the Haiti story was no different.
Once it had shown us distressing scenes of overrun hospitals and rubble for several nights, it needed a fresh angle.
And so began the search for signs of conflict.
Obviously, a massive aid effort organised at short notice in a country whose infrastructure has been destroyed is going to be a logistical nightmare, and there was much coverage criticising the slow distribution of aid. But one of the things holding up the aid was the fear of violence, which the news also seemed fascinated by. The moment footage of sporadic but inevitable scuffles arrived, it was seized on as evidence that the whole of Haiti was about to descend into barbarism.
But with aid struggling to get through, the country is spiralling out of control.
Haiti now is not just a tinderbox of simmering desperation and anxiety. It's possibly just one step from something very ugly indeed.
At times the news seemed to frame the threat of violence not as a possibility in any society that's hit by a massive disaster, but as something unique to Haiti itself.
There's this ugly undercurrent, sadly, within Haitian history, which has the ability to turn, it has the ability to quite literally fight for survival. Hence you're seeing not just doctors and aid workers on the streets, but riot police too.
The ugly undercurrent in Haitian history presumably distinguishes it from Britain, a nation whose own history consists of millennia of uninterrupted peace. Still, whatever, here's some angry foreigners.
What he says is hard to understand. It almost doesn't matter.
If you say so.
Sky occasionally seemed curiously disapproving of people forced to scavenge for anything they could find.
They scramble over an assault course of destruction to get at anything they can. Watch this. And this. Perhaps the US military should. They don't seem to think there's a problem.
Yeah, well, maybe they've got a clearer idea of the bigger picture than you have. Just a thought.
In fairness, dislocation could be a factor here. The reporter wasn't in Haiti, but in Britain, revoicing images seen on a monitor.
Images are always open to interpretation. Take this shot from another Sky News report.
These people aren't even vainly hoping for food. They're fighting over cardboard boxes to use as shelter.
Are they fighting, or are they throwing the boxes to try and break and flatten them to use as shelter and sunscreens, as we saw them doing in other reports? Check out the guy in the green t-shirt and his mate in the stripy blue top. They're clearly having a laugh batting these boxes around. Surely that's the very definition of being good-natured in a crisis. Sky weren't the only ones to focus on the violence. On the BBC's News at 10, George Alagaya stood live in the street to say,
There have been increasing signs of tension and anger on the streets here, but I think to call it all criminality or looting, I think that would be an exaggeration.
But apparently reporter Matt Fry hadn't got that memo.
Looting is now the only industry here, and this is the new rush hour of Port-au-Prince. Anything will do as a weapon. A hacksaw, a stick, and of course all the machetes and guns that you can't see. It's just a foretaste of things to come.
The occasionally feverish tone of some of the coverage angered DJ and world music guru Andy Kershaw so much he wrote a furious article for the Independent newspaper about it, accusing the media of treating the Haitians like savages. Perhaps surprisingly, some of the most measured comments about the use of violent footage came from Fox News.
We've seen video of sporadic violence, but you know, the camera can sometimes enlighten us and it can sometimes distort the truth.
Yes, there are these isolated incidents of violence and the cameras tend to gravitate towards those and highlight them, magnify them because of that. The people of Haiti really are dealing with this with an admirable dignity and sense of calm.
Casting scavengers as looters and highlighting a supposed descent into lawlessness doesn't just make news reports more dramatic.
It also has the side effect of benefiting private security contractors.
Some of them quickly leapt online to offer their armed defence services to those seeking to rebuild Haiti, as we can see in this depressing clip from MSNBC's left-leaning Rachel Maddow show.
The company that registered HaitiSecurity.com is literally offering that on their website. High-threat terminations.
Just to be clear, the vast majority of BBC, ITN and Sky's coverage of the disaster has been exemplary.
They also undoubtedly helped raise a lot of money by repeatedly plugging the appeal details. Everywhere you looked there was a message telling you to call DEC.
It was a bit like looking at post-it notes on Ant's fridge.
Speaking of aid, in the wake of any major catastrophe, people ask why God didn't intervene.
This time, however, Sky were there to capture the glitzy moment. God himself turned up and announced he was going to do something about it.
I don't know who's available, but I will get a record out within 7 to 10 days.
ITN feverishly watched as Simon Cowell assembled a charity single after someone less powerful than himself.
Some bloke called Gordon Brown, apparently, asked him to help out.
We were told an impressive roster of top stars, including Jalus and Lion Girl, would appear on the single, although Sky's Cade Burley seemed most excited at the prospect of one phallocentric performer sticking his oar in.
Nothing like a bit of Rod, is there?
The song picked was REM's Everybody Hurts, a soaring and soulful number about the possibility of hope, but a choice that caused heated debate on the set of Live from Studio 5.
The song, it's quite deep, isn't it? It's quite...
I
thought it might have been more of a uplifting, kind of like inspirational kind of song.
What, something like Come On Eileen, yeah?
By the time they put all the footage and that on it, it might probably make you cry, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it probably will.
I think it's a little bit too sad.
How can it be too sad though?
But it's such a sad thing that's going on. I think perhaps people need something a little bit uplifting, a little bit inspiring to say, you know, we can get through this, we're going to help out and all come together. And instead I'm just like, God, it's just so depressing, really.
God, it is depressing. Oh wait, look, don't miss Joe Swash.
Joe Swash, there he is, hello.
While the children debated Simon's song choice, across the pond even bigger stars than Joe Swash were gathering for a glittering live 2-hour telethon.
The lineup included literally every musician you could ever want to hear, and Sting. Hollywood did its bit too. Brad Pitt beamed down looking like a man from the future.
In fact, the cream of Movieland was there, manning the most star-studded call centre in history. There was Steven Spielberg off Jurassic Park, he was there. Pretty Woman, Julia Roberts.
Even Taylor Swift off the VMA Awards.
Hello, this is Taylor Swift.
Oh, you're Taylor. I'm really happy for you.